first. Now, I'm going to draw a top view. Okay? So the top view is adjacent to this one, and it's related to this one. Therefore, I'm using the rules of orthographic projection, rule 1 and 2. 1 is adjacent views. I can project parallel to it. The second one is related view. I can use a meter line to transfer it. Now, the first problem you have is how do I set up a meter line when I don't have anything for a top view? Well, folks, just pick a spot. Okay, that's all you got to do. I'm just going to come up here and I'm just going to draw a horizontal line. Okay? That line is going to be my front edge. It doesn't have to be equal from here up and from here over. That's just going to be my edge, okay, my close edge. Now from there, I would recommend that you break these shapes down into different prisms. I usually start overall to get the overall dimensions, and then I start focusing on shapes. So first I'm going to get my total width and bring it up. So I'm just going to grab my outsides and bring them up. Okay. Now, I need to transfer this depth on this guy to this way, because that's depth. How I'm going to do that is a meter line. So I need to set that up. I'm just going to draw a line straight up, and then where this line intersects it, from here, draw a line at 45 degrees. Okay, and really, I just draw it for a ways. Okay. So that sets up my meter line. Now let me just trim here for a second. I'm going to trim those out. So there's my width of the object. Now my depth is gotten from here. So I know this front edge goes from here to here to here, right? Okay. My back edge will go from here straight up. Make sure that polar is set at 90 when you're doing this stuff, or you can quickly hit F8 to go to ortho, and then it will draw these for you also. You want to be careful of your snaps, right? Because a lot of times when I pull up, if I get close and I get like that midpoint snap pop up like is shown here, okay, well that's not straight up. I'm getting a bad projection, right? Okay. So make sure, I like the intersect snap with my polar set at 90. Okay, so it comes up, it uses the intersect, and then I can come straight over. Now here is my full object. Let me kind of turn these different color. Okay. So that's my total width and depth. Okay. So now I know everything I'm doing is going to be inside of here. Now the next thing I would do, once I've got my full box set, then I start looking at shapes. And so I'm going to just deal with this shape right here first. I see it as a rectangle here. I see the face of it right here. Okay. So let's go ahead and get our width as we come in. Notice that it's full height. And has anybody got the question of how I know that this is that face? Are y'all good with that? Okay. So here's my height. Here's where it'll go down to the bottom. So let's go ahead and do this. So keep in mind, this top view has width and depth in it. So when I organize my shapes, I'm going to bring width from here. I'm going to bring depth from here. Those are the only two dimensions shown in that top view because it comes off the horizontal projection plane. So I'll bring this line straight up. I've already got it for the edge. Okay. So I'll kind of toast that one. I'm going to bring this one up. Okay. I know that edge right here falls on here. The next thing I have to determine is the depth of it. The depth goes from here to here, which is the full length. And I've got that already by that line and that line. So all I'm going to do is trim this and change. That line is now done. So that was this shape right here. I brought width, that's here. Depth goes from one side all the way to the other. That's this one. Okay. Now, the next thing I want to do is I want to deal with this guy. Now I do have this lower shelf I'll get to in a second, but let's get this one. Here's the width of this shape, and you can find out where the top of it is by coming straight over. Notice I line right up with that top right there. Let me kind of zoom in a little bit. So you can see I'm lining up with that top. So there's the top representation, or the depth representation of that prism. Okay. So again, I'm going to bring up, using law of 1, there is my width. My depth goes from here, that way. Now, I've already got all of these lines, right? But let's get the rest of the depth, which goes from here to here. So it's that section right there. So I can pretty much delete most of this out and trim up that one line. Okay? So that's that one. Now the next thing I've got to deal with is this little shelf right here, okay, which I never see this face in these two views. It's the only one I don't really. Okay. So I need to project that up. I've actually already got it because I did the other two and this one's fallen out. But this shelf right here runs from here to here. That's my width, right? And then my depth is right here, which goes from here to here. And notice I'm already hitting on all these lines I already have. Okay. And it's now done. Okay. So there is your representation. So I don't know if this method would work for you. Again, I'm pretty confident after doing this as long as I have that everybody has to come to their